This Matchday 36 picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100x in NBA, MLB, MMA, NHL, golf and more. Sign up today at underdogfantasy.com. Use our promo code PLGP to get a 100% deposit match. And we're brought to you by NYRA Bets. Sign up today for a free $25 bet and a $200 deposit bonus with the promo code SGPN25. Just go to nyrabets.com/SGPN25. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sport Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is, no idea, May the 1st, is it? Oh, I should have known that. Wednesday, May the 1st. We are here to handicap a full slate of action over the weekend in the Premier League and have a little live watch-along of Dortmund v Paris. Put everyone on a 1-minute spoiler alert. That includes me and Baz and anyone who's in the house watching it. I'm on the dodgy stick. So I'm 32-45. Nothing's happened in the first half an hour. So, yeah, not much to review because all of our picks from the weekend are still in play, really, apart from last night's game. Joining me from Nottinghamshire, Mr. Barry Penaluna. Bazza, how are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm actually live watching the game for a change because I'm not in the kitchen. I'm in the lounge.
I didn't notice you'd come through. That's acceptable.
I've got the TV on. I'm actually about a minute behind you by the sound of it. I've not even hit 32.45 yet, 32.25. So you're on a 2-minute, no spoiler alert. Bit of a damp script so far, nothing happening, not many shots, let alone goals. I'm on the over 3.5, Dortmund PSG. So half an hour in, nil-nil isn't ideal. Yeah. Done all right last night. For me, I had both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. You were really unlucky because you took Bayern.
Yes.
You'd put the 2-1 out as a potential scoreline. And we're sitting there late on. We're Bayern 2-1 up and done by a late goal, unfortunately. So close on that one. But not a bad pick at all. Bayern, as I said, would be competitive. I thought they'd do enough to at least be still in the game going forward. And yeah, I'd like to see Bayern go through. Personally, I'm cheering on. I have to say that I'm cheering on a Bayern Dortmund final. Did you know the last time the final was held at Wembley, the final was Bayern v Dortmund?
Was it?
Yeah.
What year was that?
2012-13, I think it was. Bayern won 2-1. The other thing that crossed my mind last night watching that Bayern game is how ridiculous it would be if Bayern went and won the Champions League with Tuchel already sacked, pretty much. Like, how ridiculous would that be? I mean, he got sacked a year after winning the Champions League with Chelsea, which was equally ridiculous. So, yeah, to win it the second time and have already lost your job would be absolutely bonkers, but still potentially could happen.
Might do. Yeah, it was a good game last night. I was a bit unlucky. We talked about it. That's what mushed the bet, Baz. With about 10 minutes left, we got a little message saying, oh, spoiler. Oh, hang on. Anyway, we're not doing spoilers. Yeah, we had a little message saying, I think I'm in, Baz. I gave Bayern 2-1 here, and barely 60 seconds passed when the referee gave that penalty. The chat's making me laugh already tonight. Callum's in here. He was in first. Lee Smith, how you doing, Michael? The hardcore now. I think these are officially our squad numbers 8, 9, and 10. Baz, Callum, Michael, and Lee. If we're going to put squad numbers out, it's these three. Comment about my possible hair situation. What's happened? There's two things happened with the hair. I haven't put my ring light on, so it's a bit darker in here because me and Bob's watching the football. There he is. Wave, Bob. and it gets in your eyes. You can't see anything. So we've left the ring light off, so it's a bit darker. But I just went and washed my hands upstairs, and I didn't dry them. I just put them through me barnet. So I haven't been on the Just For Men. I still have luxurious locks anyway. So that's the situation there. Have you caught up yet, Baz? Anything happened?
Yeah, Dortmund have just gone 1-0 up on my screen.
Dortmund have gone 1-0 up. Game needed a goal. Possible VAR check, but I think it's going to stand. Looks onside. So there you go. Right then. Not much really to go on, Baz. I will point out that the Poorly Kids fundraiser passed off without incident because Matt got some new fund money made and kept his shirt red and white. So we didn't have to, I did tell the kids' mum, I said, I tell you what, my stupid mate nearly sent along a load of black and white. And she went, oh, no. Said we couldn't have lived with myself. So I did well to point that out. And Matt spent the extra few quid and changed the money into a red and white top. So that was okay. It was a canny do, and hopefully they raised lots of money. I've got a couple of silly bets to update you on, Baz. The first one is my Aston Villa handicap bet. Because I added up the points and I was on this all pre-season, wasn't I? Mentioned it 5 or 6 times, put it out as one of my picks in the £1 million show. And it was one of those where I kept putting £3, £4, £2. I kept topping up. So I've ended up with a canny wedge on Villa at 16-1. And a few weeks ago when I added up, Tottenham and West Ham were the dangers. Tottenham and West Ham have fallen away. But Bournemouth have come with an absolute rattle now. Bournemouth, they won 3 or 4 in a row. So Villa are 2 points in front of Bournemouth. It's a 2-horse race now. Villa are 2 points in front of Bournemouth. So I still think I'll be an unlucky loser. But I don't want Bournemouth to get 2 more points than Villa in these last 3 games. So that looks all right. Possible feature, Barry, called Bets I Found that I can't remember putting on. Because when I was looking through earlier on at those Villa handicaps, I've got £6.67 on Hungary to win the Euros at 80-1, Barry. And I've no idea where that came from. Obviously, I've won like 46-67 or something at some point, and put the £6.67 because that's what I do. And I've stuck it on Hungary at 80-1. So there's a bet for you. So that could be a running feature because there's going to be loads of them kicking around. Stuff I've got no idea. I did place a EFL double as well today, Barry, for the playoffs outright. I looked at Bolton in League One, who were around about 13-8, and just because they're the best team. And then in League Two, we always said there's a team always comes with momentum. We talked about the Championship the other day, saying no one's got any momentum. There is a team in League Two with all the momentum, and it's Doncaster. Doncaster have come like they've been fired out of a cannon. So the double is 7.5-1. Bolton and Doncaster to win the playoffs, Baz. So I
love Doncaster. Haven't Doncaster won about 10 in a row now or something like that?
10 or 11 in a row, yeah.
They were something. I'd seen someone on Twitter the other day, someone had put on a bet around about 3 months ago when Doncaster was sitting about 17th in the league on Doncaster to get promoted, or Doncaster to finish top 6, it might have been. Ridiculous odds, like treble figure odds. Anyone that got involved in Doncaster at that point, you'd have said needed their head checked. But yeah, they've come with an absolute charge at the end of the season. So good choice in Doncaster. I like that one.
Jamie Sterry's getting a regular game for Doncaster now. Jamie Sterry floated around Newcastle's reserves for many years, and his dad runs one of the local football clubs here and has a big coaching, kids coaching thing. Jamie's dad, and Jamie's absolutely spot on. He used to come and hand out the kids' awards at the kids' awards ceremony and stuff. So I've always kind of watched Donny, and then they had James Coppinger, who played 5,000 times for them as well. So they've always had a little Newcastle connection. Lee's being facetious in the chat. I'm not going to dignify that with a response, Lee. You can shut up. Couple of things I'll point you towards. Firstly, it's the Kentucky Derby at the weekend. So I'll be going on the Mothership with Sean and Ryan tomorrow night. But also, next weekend is the Eurovision Song Contest. So the Premier League Gambling Podcast Eurovision Song Contest special is going to go out tomorrow night. Me and Og, a friend of Barry's from school. Og, he's a Eurovision expert. So if you want to get your Eurovision. And Oggs, I said, why are we doing it so early? It's like 9 days off. He's like, oh, we need to get this semi-final sorted. He's that keen. He needs to make sure we've got our bets on for the semi-finals of the Eurovision Song Contest. So that'll be on tomorrow night as well. Any of our American listeners who haven't been part of this Eurovision, it's an absolute madness. But you'll probably be able to get it on the BBC or Sirius or whatever goes on over in the States. Baz, do you want to tell us anything else before we start picking some Premier League action?
Just a couple of things. You've been doing really good with the shorts this week on YouTube.
Oh, shit,
Leicester to score both halves, and you took Ipswich to score both halves, both at good prices as well. So just a reminder to people, keep checking the YouTube stuff for those short clips where we're putting out anything that we haven't really covered on the podcast. So we'll get them out as often as we can. So keep an eye out. Don't forget to follow the channel. Try and push us towards the 1,000 subscribers. We're getting closer and closer by the day. We need a few more to jump on. And reviews, Malcolm, we haven't had any for ages, which is really disappointing. I'm really sad. Particularly on Apple,
sad, huh?
because on Apple you can leave us a few nice words as well. So if any of you are listening on podcast on Apple, you might have left us a review a couple of years ago or when we started. You can do it again. It lets you do it again after so many months. So if any of the Apple listeners could just drop us a 5-star, obviously, and a few nice words, that would be really nice because the bosses see that. We haven't had one for a while. So Apple reviews, please. And Spotify, if you're on Spotify, just press the 5-star button. Just as easy.
The baseball show got one. Some American bloke saying my accent was unbearable. So I enjoyed that. That was good. The bosses saw that one. So thanks for that, whoever that was. Fucking wanker.
You got another one today, Malcolm. You were accused of being passive-aggressive on the baseball show. That might not have been you. It was one of the hosts. Me? I suspect that could have been you.
I'm not even entirely sure what that means. I've heard lots of people say it. I said, so the other host, or what? I'm going to have a look now. I'm furious about this.
Yeah, you can check that later.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Right, we'll move on. First off, hockey. We haven't talked about hockey yet. Playoffs are up and running, as are the NBA. So there's the gambling podcast for both of those shows. It's Derby week as well. So tune in to get ready for the most exciting 2 minutes in sports. And we've got a new sponsor here helping us get in on the action with that, NYRA. So you can bet the run for the roses with NYRA bets. Score big on the Kentucky Derby with a double dose of rewards. Sign up today for a $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus with the promo code SGPN25. Join now to claim your $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus at nyrabets.com/SGPN25. If you want a little bit more, Kentucky Oaks Day is Friday. There's a $30 bonus there. Opt in and bet at least $150 on the Belmont at the Big A and Churchill Downs. You get $30 win or lose and an extra $50 for Derby 150. Bet $250 on Belmont at the Big A, Churchill Downs for a $50 bonus, win or lose. Visit nyrabets.com to opt in. The Triple Crown, opt in and bet at least $25 on the Derby, the Preakness, and you'll get a free $10 bonus on the Belmont, win or lose. So everything you need is at NYRA to bet on the fastest 2 minutes in sport. Expert picks, betting insights, promotions, and more. Visit nyrabets.com. Catch all the Triple Crown action on America's Day at the Races. Check out the full schedule at nyrabets.com/Fox. Oh, that was a mouthful, wasn't it, bud? I never do proofread those new ads. It's always an adventure when we get to them. Right. There is a Premier League game on Thursday, but we covered that. Chelsea's home and over Tottenham is tomorrow night. Friday, the 3rd of May, 8 o'clock kickoff. Luton take on Everton, where Luton are 14-9 plus 155. The draw 13-5 plus 260. Everton 8-5 plus 160. Luton have had one win in forever. They've just stopped winning. They had a little flurry around Christmas where they were all feisty and scored goals and gave the big boys a bit of a scare. And all of that's just fizzled out, I think. That 5-1 home defeat against Brentford last time was a real issue, I think. Everton have won 3 in a row, all at home. But that will keep them safe, and it's a momentum, Baz. The fact that they've figured out how to win games, they're playing a little bit different. They've got some players back. Michael, I think it was in the chat last week, pointed out that Garner Gay's playing a bit further forward. He gave out some shot props as well. It was absolutely spot on. Garner Gay scored. So great stuff there. I think that's just enough to me. I think Everton win, Baz. Luton can't win. They've stopped winning. And Everton are winning. It's really quite that simple. I'll take Everton at 8-5 plus 160.
Yeah, so I think start with Everton here. Job done for them, staying up. 3 wins in a row, 3 clean sheets in a row as well. And it's 4 wins from 5 now, 4 clean sheets in the 5 games. Both teams to score no is hitting 5 straight games for them, because their only defeat was the 6-0 to Chelsea, which is a bit of a standout one in amongst their other form. In contrast, Luton just 1 win in 15. And they've just lost 3 on the bounce, conceding 12 on the way. So on form alone, Everton just look a good price at 8-5. The only question mark for me is will they still be on it as they have been recently, with the pressure now off? And I think it could go either way. But the big standout for me is Luton's defence. Can't keep a clean sheet. They've got 1 win in 15, I mentioned. They haven't kept a single clean sheet in those 15 games. And they've conceded at least 2 goals in 5 of the last 6 games. So I like Everton here, but I'm going to go for Everton on the team total market at 6-5. So slightly shorter price than taking Everton on the money line. But I'll take Everton to score a couple of goals. Everton team total against Luton over 1.5 at 6-5.
Yeah, that'll cash us both, Bars. I think that's a smart play. Move across to Saturday. Arsenal take on Bournemouth in the lunchtime kickoff. Pretty hard to get your head around this one. Arsenal are 1-5, minus 500. The draw is 7-1. Bournemouth are out there at 9-1. Baz. So how are we handicapping the 5-1 on favourite?
Yeah, it was difficult, this one. Not because I don't have a feeling on how the game will go. It's just trying to find that bet, and it's possibly one of my least favourites on the card, really. I mean, I said last week I can see Arsenal winning every game from here, and I'm sticking by that. Bournemouth are in good form, but there are spots where you have to oppose them, and this is definitely one. As away from home, the form isn't quite as good. Just 2 wins in the last 7. And away from home, particularly against top 5 sides, they've lost every time. They went to Liverpool, City, Spurs and Villa and lost every time on the road. They lost each of them by 2 or more goals. And all 4 of those teams have scored 3 or more goals against them. So they're getting well beaten against the big sides. And I think Arsenal will probably do similar here. Arsenal have got right back on track after a rough couple of weeks where they departed the Champions League, defeat the Villa, which looked to have derailed their Premier League chances, albeit they're still sort of hanging in there. But they've won 3 on the bounce since, scored 10 goals. And as you say, the hardest part is finding a bet, because the handicap, you're needing 3 team totals, or 3 Arsenal goals doesn't quite get you there. I've gone with the Asian handicap here, Mal. It's -2 Arsenal on the Asian handicap. So it'll push if they win by 2, which I think is a good safety net. And it pays out if they win by 3 or more. Just a touch under evens. As I say, it's not one I'm particularly massive on. I really did find it hard to find. So when I looked at other things, in things like score both halves, win both halves, things like that, and just nothing else jumped out at me. So pick for me, Arsenal v Bournemouth. Arsenal Asian handicap -2 at just under evens.
I found that review, Baz. I'm going to look for it while you were waffling on. The same bloke says he's been listening to the show for weeks and always loses when he picks what we pick and always wins when he picks what he picks. So I would say to him, like, why are you listening to the show for weeks? It doesn't make any sense, Barry. Someone's up to something there. It's sabotage is what it is. Yeah, you can't do anything with Arsenal. Yeah, they did have 6 clean sheets in a row before the Tottenham game. But Bournemouth are full of goals and full of adventure at the minute. And actually, my pick is factoring in Bournemouth. And it's Bournemouth shots, Barry. It's just a free goal for Bournemouth. They might as well go and have a pop. And I think they will, because that's just how the manager is. It's how the team is. They had 15 shots against Brighton, 21 against Wolves, 14 against the Villa, and 20 against Man United in the last 4 games. Now, Arsenal very well might end up comfortable winners. But just to free it for Bournemouth, I think they'll go and join in. Spurs had 14 shots against Arsenal at the weekend. And the line here for Bournemouth is 9.5. So it's quite low. I can easily say Bournemouth, even if they get humped, they'll break away, they'll make some chances. They'll play on the front foot. They won't just sit in. There's no way they're going to sit with a low block and try and stop them. So yeah, Bournemouth, it's a bit of a weird one because I'm going not against the 1-5 favourites, but I'm factoring in the away team here. Bournemouth over 9.5 shots is 9-10, -111.
I don't mind that one, Malcolm. I'm just looking at the stats sort of historically for Bournemouth. I think they've probably gone under that maybe 3 times in the last 20 games. And when they have gone under, it's been 8 against Luton and a couple of 9s. So, you've missed by a half. Lots of big numbers in there. And I looked at sort of games against the bigger sides. They got 11 against Liverpool. They got 13 against Man City. So good shout. Plenty of good form for that. I like it.
Yeah, they're playing better now as well. They're playing better than they were. They were relegation candidates sort of October, November. And all of a sudden they're threatening to usurp my Aston Villa bet. On to the 3 o'clocks, of which there are 3. On Saturday, Brentford take on Fulham. Brentford 11-10 plus 110. The draw 14-5 plus 280. Fulham 16-5 plus 320. Brentford have now done enough really to separate themselves, like Everton, from the relegation candidates by beating Sheffield United and Luton, which is fair enough. They're not scoring loads. Fulham are just meandering along now. They had a 1-1 against Palace last week. Really, Palace should have been in front before Fulham did get the goal. First goal is important. I think if Palace got it, they would have beaten them. It just looks like a draw, doesn't it, Bad? The Brentford have drawn 3 of their last 4 games. It looks a similar game to that Fulham Palace one. I prefer Brentford, but just there's nothing between them. It's not the 1-1 draw of the week, Baz, because there could be a few more goals. It might be a 2-2, but I'm going to take the draw at 14-5 plus 280.
Yeah, so I think this one was very difficult because you've got 2 really inconsistent teams. Almost impossible to go either way here. And this was one where I did look into the stats markets to see if I could see anything that jumped out. And I just couldn't find any real trends that jumped out to me for either team. So a really short one based on the fact that I couldn't make a strong argument for either side. And the fact that Brentford have drawn 3 of the last 4 games. I've got exactly the same pick. I think it'll be tight. And that brings the draw into play. Same pick for me. Brentford v Fulham, draw at 14-5.
Interesting, Baz. Next up, 3 o'clock is Burnley against Newcastle United. Burnley 5-2 plus 250. 3-1 the draw. Newcastle are a shade of odds on 19-20 minus 105. Baz?
Yeah, so this one's trickier for Newcastle than it looked a few weeks ago. Burnley have lost just 1 of the last 8. I seen Lee the other day on Twitter saying, "It's the hope that kills you." They're sort of hanging on in there, thinking they've got a chance, and we'll see whether they can see it out. They have drawn 5 of those 8, though. They're not winning many games. And Newcastle haven't been at their best recently, with the exception of the Spurs game where we were really good. They were very poor in the defeat to Palace. And I certainly think they'll have to be better than they were against Sheffield United to come away with 3 points, because although we won that 5-1, I didn't think we were particularly good. Certainly not in the first half possibly. But it is just 1 defeat in 6 for Newcastle and 4 wins in 6. And ultimately, I think Newcastle have got enough here to continue, pushing for the European places. They've not been at the best on the road for most of the season, we know that, but they have got recent wins recently against Fulham, Villa, Forest, and I think Newcastle will get another one here. And I think the price is fair. I'm happy to take Newcastle to beat Burnley at 19-20.
Completely the other side, bars, no help to anyone. I keep saying Burnley lost 1 in 8. I've been the better side, remember, for months on end now. They're only 1 point behind Forest. They've dragged themselves right back into it. Plenty of draws in there. Lots of 1-1 draws, the odd 2-2. There's no real patterns for any over-unders. Both teams to score hits a lot, but it's way, way, way too short here. Newcastle continue to perform well at home, but not away from home at all. That Palace performance, our last away game, Newcastle were terrible. And you knew immediately after 3 minutes, we were very obviously going to get beat. The away game before, that was the Fulham match. And honestly, we could have been 3-0 down at half-time. If that was 3-0 at half-time, you could not have argued. We came back and scored 2 goals in the last 10 minutes and got away with a win. So I just fancy Burnley. I think they're playing really well. They're going to cause us problems. They're very good going forward. We've lost to Luton. We've lost to Bournemouth. We've lost to Palace. We've lost all over the shop. They're just a different side away from home. Totally different side. And you've probably been hoodwinked a bit by the last two. The Tottenham home win and the Sheffield United home win. Tell me about that Palace game last week. And you want to take Newcastle odds on after throwing in that performance. We could still be there. Now we're not a scored, so yeah. I'll take Burnley to win that 5-2 plus 250. We will move on.
Fine with that. Every time you go against Newcastle and we're on the opposite side, I'm always on the winning side of it. So I'm okay with that. And you'll come on with the same excuse saying, oh, it worked. It was a double. I mushed it. I did what I wanted. It's fine. It's always your excuse when you get Newcastle wrong. Oh, that's just what I wanted anyway. We know how it works, Malcolm.
I tell you what, have you not in your head been handicapping that Man United Newcastle game for a couple of weeks' time? Because I've ran through it in my mind about 100 times already.
Oh, trying to decide. Newcastle.
Well, yeah, I'll definitely back Man United. Well, we're saving a job that night. If anyone's got your pen, write that down now. Barry takes Newcastle. I'll take Man United. Where are we going? Underdog Fantasy. NBA playoffs and Underdog Fantasy making it a lot more interesting. It's the easiest place to play fantasy sports. The pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and plenty more. You can make your entries all one sport, basketball, or mix and match across your other favourite sports and win up to 100 times your money. Underdog is available in over 30 states, including California, Texas, and Canada. And in Florida, they've just launched their Champions, which is a player versus player format. Make sure to sign up with the code PLGP. Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Underdog Fantasy, promo code PLGP. One more 3 o'clock on Saturday. Sheffield United against Nottingham Forest. Sheffield United are on the next page. I've gone backwards. That's Fiorentina. That's from ages ago, that one. 15-4, Sheffield United, plus 375. The draw 16-5, plus 320. Nottingham Forest are 4-6, minus 150. There's no way you can back Forest here for a start. That's insanity. 4-6, minus 150. They've been dog shit for ages. Sheffield United have lost the last 4 games, conceding 13 goals, which is a bit of a worry. The last 3 home games, there's been plenty of goals in those, 4, 5, and 6 in total. They were really good going forward against Newcastle last week. It's almost as if they made a deal. It was like, you let us have half an hour and we'll let you win 5-1. It was just a really weird game of football. And they're clearly still trying. That's one of the things I took from last week. Although they were officially relegated, they were down before that. That last week didn't change anything. So they're clearly still having a go, which I think is important. Forest are still absolutely right in the shit. They've got 1 win in 10. You can't back them on the handicap at all. You can't back them outright at 4-6. There's no patterns. I give Sheffield United a chance here. I'm just not sure Forest are good enough to... They were decent against City in spells, but that's a bit like Sheffield did against Newcastle. Sort of a team can hold you at arm's length and allow you so many chances, but they were never, ever really going to win. Sheffield United are live at 15-4, but I'm going to take the double chance, Baz. Sheffield United on the double chance is 6-5, plus 120, Baz. Yeah, it's just one bet.
2 bets. Why? Did you just see some
Sport
balloons?
betting, hasn't he?
What are those balloons on my screen?
I've no idea what you've done.
I've never seen that before.
Who's
I just put 2
what?
fingers up. If I put 2 fingers up, lots of balloons appeared. What was that all about?
Whoa! What's so? This is some sort of witchcraft. This.
I have absolutely no idea what that's all about. But that was 2 bets.
Doesn't work
Yeah,
for me.
anyone
No
watching on
balloon.
YouTube has just seen lots of balloons appear on my screen and have no idea
Oh,
why
what?
or how
That
that
was
happened.
incredible.
Can you get balloons up if you put 2 fingers up? Like
No. No. Right, stop doing balloons. That's good.
Right.
Enjoy that.
That's bizarre. Not very good for people on podcasts, but
No,
never
it's
mind.
not.
Tune into YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Sheffield United Forest. I can't be having Forest here at 13-20. Price is far too short for a team with 1 win in 10, 3 defeats in the last 4. They might well win the game, but it's just too short a price to get involved at that. And I know Sheffield United have now no win in 11, I think, and only 3 draws, 8 defeats in that time. So absolutely not saying Forest won't win it, but I think you have to look elsewhere. You've gone elsewhere. You think Sheffield United are worth taking. For me, I've went towards the goals market. In the last 15 Sheffield United games, 13 out of 15 have saw over 3.5 goals. That's ridiculous. They've just saw 17 goals in the last 3 games alone. And I agree with you. I think they're all right going forward. They can't keep teams out, though, is the problem. So you won't get much of a price about Forest goals, but I think the match total is okay. Because Sheffield United, I can see getting a goal. They regularly get on the score sheet. They've only failed to score once in the last 8 now as well. So I think Forest might do enough, but I'm not convinced I would want to be on them. And I think you've probably got the better value of it with your double chance. But I'm taking the over 3.5 because it happens every week in Sheffield United games. And it's a reasonable price. Sheffield United v Forest over 3.5 goals at 11-8.
I'll tell you what, Callum's put out an absolute belter. I would have picked this, the old Aka freeze bars, which you've been using recently. Sheffield United to score first, and therefore you can freeze them up on the Aka freeze. I adore that, Carl. That is an incredibly shrewd bit of handicapping. Tea time on Saturday, 5:30 kick-off. Manchester City taking on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Man City are 1-10, minus 1,000. The draw is 11-1. Wolves are 14-1, Barry.
Tempted with the underdog at 14-1, Mal? Not
No.
for me. Not for me. They picked up their first win in 8 last week against Luton, but I'm not bothered about that. It doesn't really change anything. City now on a 5-game win streak, scored 19 in those 5 games. No defeats since December when Villa beat them, and they're unbeaten at home all season still. So at home, can't see Wolves laying a glove on them, really. I said earlier, I think Arsenal might win every game from here, but I think the same for City now. I mean, Pep's been moaning for a while about the build-up, the short build-up, the amount of games and all of this, needing a rest. So he's got no excuses this week. They've had the week off because they're not in the Champions League. But it's then where do you go for a bet with City at 1-10? I thought Wolves have struggled in front of goal lately. Just 1 goal in the last 3 games. So City to win and 0 was my first consideration, but 4-6, just a little bit too short to be putting out as a pick. If City can't go and win 0 though, then this pick should have a good chance at a better price. I've gone for City to win both halves, so not to score both halves, win both halves.
Well done, Barry.
They've just won 5-1 and 4-1 in the last 2 home games, and they've just won both halves in 4 of the last 5 in the league. So bet for me, City to win both halves against Wolves at 5-6.
I was really pleased with myself, Baz, when I made this pick. My pick being City to win both halves. I thought, I tell you what, there's no one around as clever as me. I've absolutely nailed this. They're 10-1 on, and I've found a pick that's nearly even money that pretty much is nailed on. Like, absolute genius. And then the only other person I've spoken to has made the same pick. So, yeah, I'm all for it, Baz. Wolves did look a bit better last week. They had Cunha back and then Chang. But they haven't got much to play for. I mean, even still last week, they just squeezed past Luton 2-1, didn't they? It's not like they put them to bed. So I've been in on Wolves at various times, but it has fizzled out. But yeah, I totally agree. Love that bet, Barry. City to win both halves, 5-6, minus 120. Sunday, 2 o'clock kickoff. Brighton take on Aston Villa. Brighton are 19-10, plus 190. The draw is 11-4, plus 275. Villa 13-10, plus 130. Dead easy, Barry. Brighton are in auto fade. I said that last week. I tell you what, a swindle. I said I went in the bookies for the first time in forever last week when I got my haircut, and I put that little double on. I won 77.30. Well, I didn't go back in until Sunday. And I took the 50 quid and I put 27.30 on Bournemouth to win at 23-20. Price on the thing, 23-20. Price on the machine, price on the screen, no bother. Went back and collected my money. It's with 15 quid short. I was like, what's the crack? She went, oh, yeah, paid you out at 5-6. I mean, you can't just pay me out at 5-6. It's not up to you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and the woman clearly had no idea either. Like, so just there's some stupid machine. And like, I'd written it out as well, hand. So normally when they write it out, they have a look, don't they? They used to do the tippy tappy thing, look at the screen, put a little squiggle on it to say you've got the right price. Just not in. And both, there's no one in the shop as well, Baz. That industry or that part of the industry's not on its arse. In fact, that part of the industry is absolutely on its arse. Like, just no customer service, dog shit price. What we talking about? Villa. Yeah, so Brighton are in auto fade. They've given up and they've got no players either. Villa still need the points. The Thursday night thing hasn't bothered them at all this season, Villa. It's sort of travel spot because they are at home on Thursday. And I think they should comfortably beat Olympiacos, meaning they might get to rest a few. I don't really think it matters. Villa 13-10 plus 130, or 5-6 if you go in the shop, is a great bet, Bar. So I'll take Villa.
Yeah, no winning 6 for Brighton. Just 2 goals in those 6, so they've been shut out 4 times. They have played the top 3 sides in that little run of 6 games, but they've also failed to beat Brentford and Burnley, and were well beaten against Bournemouth. Really straightforward, like you. Better team, better form. They've got more to play for, and a plus money price. And I remember quite vividly the reverse fixture because our lad had Villa goals. They won 6-1 in that reverse fixture as well. I absolutely smashed that one, which was a nice memory. But yeah, give me Villa to beat Brighton at 13-10. There's just no need to overthink this one at all.
2 o'clock on Sunday, Chelsea take on West Ham. Chelsea are 11-18, minus 163. The draw 7-2, plus 350. West Ham 15-4, plus 375. But
yeah, so we talked recently about Chelsea's form and how if you take out the sort of recent defeat to Arsenal, it's just 1 defeat in 10 league games. There is lots of draws in there, but not many teams are beating Chelsea at the moment. But then if you look at their home form in isolation, there's a lot more green there. They've won 7 of the last 9 league games at home. Lots of goals. They've scored 19 in their last 5 at home. And West Ham are on the slide again. No win in 5. And in the league, just 1 win in 8. Now, you mentioned before they've dropped off. And I think they'll continue to do so here. I think everything points towards Chelsea for me in this one. And I've been keen to avoid Chelsea in a lot of spots this season. But I like them here. Certainly as a piece in a knacker. A little bit short as an outright pick. So I've went a little bit different. Goals over 3.5 has been good for me recently in Chelsea games. I do worry a little bit, though, about West Ham playing their part in that. West Ham don't convince me at all. But I found a bet that has hit in 5 straight games at home for Chelsea. And it's Chelsea to score in both halves. As I say, 5 in a row at home, they've done this. And it's even money. The number of goals Chelsea are getting lately, I just think it's a reasonable pick here. So the pick Chelsea v West Ham is Chelsea to score in both halves at even money.
Yeah, I want to make some money out of Chelsea. I feel like there's money to be had on them. And we've struggled to work them out. But couple that with the fact I want to fade West Ham, and it was a pretty easy. I didn't really have to handicap much. I just had to find the bet in that market that you've got into, Baz. is something. But mine's the same but different, and it's a Chelsea team total, Baz. Over 2.5 is 11-8 plus 137. They've got tons of goals in them. Like you say, West Ham, I've been out on them forever. And I do need to make some money on being, because I've been right and somehow got them wrong. So yeah, I wanted Chelsea. I don't want West Ham. So it's fairly straightforward in the picks. Chelsea team total over 2.5. 11-8 plus 137. Oh no, live noises. That has gone. Go on, I tell you what, if you're a minute behind, there's loads of exciting stuff about to happen. I don't know. That's right. Anyway, stop talking. I'll let you watch it. 4:30 Sunday. Liverpool take on Tottenham Hotspur. Liverpool are 1-2 minus 200. The draw is 9-2 plus 450. Tottenham are 4-1. Tottenham were 9-2 earlier, so a little bit of money for Tottenham here. Liverpool have drifted a fraction of a point out to 1-2, so a little bit of line movement report. This is you, Baz. Liverpool v Tottenham. Did you see the excitement there? Now have you seen it?
I did, yeah. I'm only about 10 seconds behind you now, so I did catch.
Yeah, I've had a little buffer actually, so you've probably caught up a bit.
PSG hitting every post and crossbar and everything going. Yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing this podcast and watching the last half an hour of this. It might liven up.
Get on with it then.
So Liverpool Spurs. First thing was, I think if you want to back Liverpool here at 1-2, I think you need your head checked. 1 win in 5.
Yep.
They've just lost to Palace, Everton, failed to beat West Ham, failed to beat Man United. Did beat Fulham, fair enough, 1 win in 5. I would normally say, but this is at Anfield, they're a different team at Anfield, but they've just gone and lost back-to-back ones at home as well. Palace and Atalanta have both won there. And I think mentally, they'll possibly be struggling, having pretty much blown the league now, blown everything else. Salah's kicking off. Just all is not well. And I'm here for that. I love it. But I think the other thing is, I think Spurs and their style of play are just the sort of team that can cause this Liverpool team trouble, just like Atalanta did a few weeks ago. And we know this Liverpool team will concede goals. Now, Spurs haven't been in great form themselves, but I just think they look far better value at 4-1 compared to 1-2 Liverpool. Safer play here would be Spurs double chance. 2 picks, that would be the amalgam. I'm going for 1 pick. I'm taking Spurs 4-1. I think they're a big enough price against this Liverpool side that have lost their way recently. And as I say, I think it's Spurs style play can definitely get in amongst this Liverpool team and get some goals. So I'll take Spurs to beat Liverpool 4-1.
Lee using the term length in the chat. It's proper tickled me. I haven't heard that for ages. That's made us laugh. And Austin has joined us. Austin, saying hello. Hello, mate. How you doing? Get involved, Austin. Give us some of your best bets in the comments here. Yeah, Liverpool have lost the plot, Baz. They lost to Atalanta a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if we mentioned that. You can't bet them either on form or on the potentially fragile mental state of them, the squad, the manager, the best players, all of that shit. Tottenham are a psycho team, but they'll just have a go. I know it's hard to equate because I sat up there 2 weeks ago and watched them be non-competitive against Newcastle. But my pick's the same, Baz. I've right in brackets. I've got double chance, 13-8 plus 162. But at some point, I needed to get me length out. In Spurs, I've got them down at 9-2 here, but I suppose I'll have to take 4-1. Spurs at 4-1 is my pick. The other one I really like, Baz, is the match shots, because there could be actually hundreds of match shots. Might be like over 250, might be the play. The line's at 31.5. Match shots 9-10, minus 111. It's just going to be a basketball game. But yeah, Tottenham can do them in here, Baz. 100% agree with you.
Funny enough, I just loaded up the shots market because obviously we've followed that with Liverpool recently. Liverpool regularly getting you 23s, 24s. Last week, 28.
Yeah.
So if Liverpool get into the 20s again, you're only needing Spurs to get 12s to hit that match shot. I think it's a great opportunity for a ladder. I'm looking here, over 34 shots, match total 2-1. Over 37 is 4-1. Over 40, 15-2 is not without a chance as well. So yeah, I love the shots angle. But I think you're right in this case. Just take both sides rather than Liverpool as we have been doing.
Heads and hands here again. Somehow PSG have not scored several chances. Bob's got a £5 builder bet on, which I don't think is close to winning at the moment. Yeah, I'd argue 2-3-5 with Sky. So
I thought you were going to say you don't think is legal, given that he's only 13 years old.
12, isn't he?
12,
12, yeah. I'll tell you, he thought he'd hit the jackpot last night. He took Vinny Jr. to have 2 shots on target. Well, obviously, he scored twice. Madrid to score 2 goals. And the goalie to have 5 saves. Well, the goalie had 3. And then Sky Bet had him up as having 5. It had all gone green. So his 5 won 50 quid. And then I refreshed it, and it was back down at 3. And he made no more saves. So that was a bad beat.
I've noticed Sky Bet regularly doing that, crediting corners or shots that haven't actually happened. If you're quick on the button, Malcolm, you cash out when it goes green and get the money in your bank. You can swizz them out of that. I've done it.
Yeah, we weren't. It was there was a lot going on, and obviously we were on the dodgy stick as well, so you're always a couple of minutes behind. So it's a bit trickier. But that was a bit of a sickness. I don't think tonight's is as close. At the minute. Okay, one more game here and it is on Monday night. This won't take long to handicap. Crystal Palace taking on Manchester United. Palace 7-5 plus 140. The draw 11-4 plus 275. And Man United 7-4 plus 175. Baz, what's the pick?
So a lot of these games tonight, I've sort of looked at the fixture and straight away I know where I want to go with it. And it's just then, can I get a price I want? And this is the same. I want Palace on my side. I still want nothing to do with Man United. Man United now 1 win in 7. No clean sheet in 8. And up against a resurgent Palace team with no defeat in 4. Good wins over Liverpool and Newcastle. Man United are actually underdogs here, which shows how far they've dropped going to Palace as underdogs.
They were underdogs against Bournemouth a couple of weeks ago.
So I think, obviously, that means the books aren't giving much away. But what I wanted here was Palace goals, over 1.5 team total, because Man United have conceded 2 or more in 5 of the last 6 games. Coventry, Sheff United, Bournemouth have all managed to get at least 2 against Man United. So Palace, in the form they're in, will go and do that again. Palace to score 2 or more against Man United at 5-6 will be my pick.
I've got no further than wanting Palace to win, but
I thought
there's only one course of action here. You've got a decent side, playing well, scoring goals against an absolute shambles of a team. Palace should have done better at Fulham. They were the better side. They should have. First goal was crucial. If they'd got in front, they would have won. They came back and equalised with a great goal from Jeffrey Schlupp. So I was a bit disappointed. So we'll get some compensation here, Baz. Palace can turn these lot over easy. 7-5 plus 140. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is a full card of Premier League action in the hutch. Baz, dog, anytime goal scorer, accumulator. Hit us.
Yes, I'm going to go with my underdog. It'll be Spurs to beat Liverpool at 4-1. Scorer for me, it's got to be Isak, however you want to say it. 11-10 anytime for Alexander Isak to score. And 4-1 first or last. And my acca, I hit last week a nice little double, 6-1. And it was the result and both teams to score. So I've gone there again. I've gone for Chelsea and Villa, both to win, with both to score in the game. Comes in at 9-1 for the double. So Chelsea and Villa win with both teams to score at 9-1. And I'm going to give another level to that again. I'm going to add Newcastle in. Newcastle win and both teams to score. Takes it up to 30-1 for a treble, for a nice big long shot. And, Dortmund nearly scored. I've got one little extra one here. Is a card pick. Ben White for a card. He's at 9-2. And the only reason for it cropped up, all I've seen this week is everyone pointing out Ben White and his shithousery. And it just makes me wonder whether whoever's reffing will have seen all of that talk about it this week and might be a bit more on the ball. Ben White has picked up 4 cards in his last 7 games, 3 in his last 5. So he gets plenty cards anyway. And now everyone's looking at him and saying what a pain in the arse he is.
He's a bit of a tit. He's possible tip list candidate.
Absolutely, absolutely. But for this week, let's just back him to get a card at 92. I think it's a really, really good price for a card. If someone's just got his number marked, the referee's got his card marked before the game, thinking, right, I'm going to keep an eye out for him standing on the keeper's toes or something. So yeah, 92 Ben White for a card looks lovely.
I'll start with my Akabaz because it's very similar to yours. It's almost like a little step up on yours. It's a double, but it's a handicap double. Both games are 2:00 on Sunday, so we can sweat these out together. It's Chelsea -1.5 and Villa -1.5. Because I just said Chelsea are going to bosh West Ham, and I think Brighton have absolutely wrapped in. I think they're done. So I think they can both win comfortably, and that pays that's 9-1, Barry, for that cheeky little double. I'm going to stick with Chelsea for my goal scorer and go with my man Nicholas Jackson. He is 11-2. Shut up! I'm off Darwizzy now. Darwizzy's old news. I'm now on the Nicholas Jackson train. Jackson is 11-2 to score first and last, 6-4 plus 150 anytime. And for my dog, I looked at Tottenham, Baz. I looked at Sheffield United. I've got a teeny tiny little puppy here though, Baz. It's a little dog. The prices are wrong here. There's no way Everton should be the underdog against Luton Town. Absolutely no way. Everton should be about 11-10 here. They're 8-5 plus 160. So it's not life changing, but it's an underdog, Baz. And I'm having it. And I think that is it. Anything else you want to say, or should we go and watch the last half an hour of this? Well, I'm buffering again as well. It's no good.
Just one last thing. If you've made it this far listening on podcast and you're on Spotify, press 5 stars at the end. And if you're on Apple, leave us a few words. Just repeat the same message again, just in case you forgot what I said 50 minutes ago. That would be nice. Thank you.
Pete has just joined us for the last 30 seconds. I was going to mention Pete if you did join in. I noticed yesterday Pete got on a heater. Peter was on a heater, that rhymes. 48-1 treble on the Nags yesterday in the space of about 15 minutes. So go and have a look at Pete's picks. I know Lee has been having a little chat with him on Twitter as well. So it's nice to grow the community. So go and follow Pete's picks. You'll find him on Twitter, and if you can't, have a look at our followers or whatever, and he'll come up. Okay, Baz, thank you very much. Sunday night we'll be back with whatever's going on early part of next week. Look out for the YouTube shorts as well, because like I say, we've been dropping down the leagues and quite successful as well. Don't forget the Eurovision show.
We'll get the playoffs coming up, won't we, as well? So we'll stick some short stuff out for those AFL playoff games as well.
Eurovision show at some point tomorrow night. I'll schedule it. Not sure what it is. Me and Og will take you through all of that. And I think that's it. Good luck with your picks the rest of this European midweek and the Premier League weekend. Back on Sunday. Until then, we will see you down the road. Cheers.